remember, recover, return, my brothers and sisters. And we just want everyone to know that this wonderful healing plant that we have, as I light this and smoke this, may it carry a blessing from Maria and I to the actual little girls who were killed in a deliberate airstrike paid for by you and I. May their journey be guided by Lou and Donna themselves, and may they be always forevermore protected by our gods. For we're in the Matrix. They're very much trying to scare us. You can bet that. And also, it makes me remember and never will we forget the little girl. I'm bad with foreign names and shit, but the little girl whose whole family was killed by Israeli snipers in the beginning of the genocide. And she was on the phone with the 911 people. And they were put in touch with the IDF. And when they fully understood that it was a 6-year-old girl left alone in this car, they drove a tank to the car and exploded the entire car with a giant tank shell. So we also remember her. What is this war about? What is America about? Fear. It's a simple, schoolyard bully on steroids, gone wild. And we also curse each and every fighter pilot, like the head of Trump's military, the casino world order, the Four Seasons world order, right in our face. I mean, there were bad presidents, but no one is this hypocritical. No one's lied this boldly. This is the, obvious Epstein blackmailed leader. This is the Operation Epstein Fury, Operation Epstein regime. I mean, who buys that it's a coincidence that the buddy of an Israeli Mossad pedophile blackmailing everyone, who believes it's a coincidence that he became the president of the United States? I mean, what a coincidence that he's on film going, I know Jeffrey Epstein is a great guy. He likes women and he likes them young. An open confession. This is this is the subgenius Messiah. This is the parody of a parody religion. Christianity is an evil parody. I think parody insinuates a comedy, but not necessarily, at least not my definition I'm using right now, right? Christianity itself is not historical. It's not true. It's not according to nature. It's a bad and evil by design parody of Odin, who and a succession after Odin, who hung on the tree, who basically gave his own life, not God, the universal blood. There's nothing universal about your bullshit. You're full of shit. But there was a very ancient religion based around giving everything for eternal true love. And Christianity and that religion was the story of Wotan and Frigg, Odin and Frigg, and it wasn't perfect. Odin had uh, two other baby mamas, but they were eternal true loves. And Maria, who's here right now, made it known. Thank you, Maria, so much. That Frigg, that those women, the baby mamas, were her friends, and that they were as closer than any man and woman could ever be. They were eternal women friends. And what we have today, and why they call it the Church of the Subgenius, is because that religion, Christianity, is a evil parody of our ancestors' religion, because it was slowly, at first it was benign, you might say, or passive, but 350 years into it, they had woven it to be chains, sharpened it to be swords to kill people with, because they recognized that the Jewish Gnostics had stolen this from their own roots and are making these claims, universal claims, which would justify putting to death whoever they wanted. Literally, Christianity was adopted by the Roman Empire, and this is how we still know it, as population control. They said, you know what? Only 5 to 10% of the population believe this, but they happen to be a very fanatical 5% of the population, and that means 95% of the population, at least in this illusion philosophy of illusion, can be made out to be the enemies of the universal God. The 4th century bankers sat down and they said, what's the ultimate mind control? Not the loving blending of opposite variety, not the blending of variety, but the bringing together of good and evil. And they brainstormed and they took a story that was basically already an idea that had already been put out there. They stole it basically. That what if, and this is like science fiction, what if the universal God of all gods, the God above God, what if he was evil? Not the demiurge, but the creator of the demiurge. Because they all recognize there's something going on with this world and it's evil. All right, we're talking about Kabbalist, not Old Testament. Like the Old Testament was always for the public. The Kabbal was for the Kabbalah, good or bad. It just means set of books. So they had another set of books that was not for the public, right? In that set of books, it said there's no universal God. It's just impersonal energy that's always been here. It's just always been here, no matter what you want to call it, blah, blah, blah. They said the whole intent of our banker ancestor intent in cut and pasting this religion together was for us to manifest Yahweh as a real being of collective unconscious. They said to each other, if there is a Yahweh, it's us. This is the essence of Thelema. The essence of Thelema is will help you do the evil that you never thought you could do. And it will make you more powerful, make you bigger, make you wider, make you taller. Right? And a vision from these 4th century occult magicians was presented as a whole theological, administrative religion that could go right down to the executioner torturing and executing people for their beliefs. Which, up until then, this is very important. Up until then, had been private. That the only like spiritual crime in Rome, the time I'm talking about, the 300s AD, 4th century, you basically had to sign up at birth that your family was associated with one of the Roman gods, that you were going to basically pay a tax to go to the temples that were being kept up, and like Maria is here right now saying, most of that was totally legitimate. It wasn't collecting a tithe. They literally took money to upkeep the temples. Like she said, you and I would never complain with the Roman Empire. Neither would we have ever been crucified because we were normal Romans, which, listen, included complete total religious freedom. As long as you showed honor to your country, loyalty to your country through one of these temples of one of the Roman gods, which they themselves would tell you straight to your face represent the forces of nature, no one in particular. And I believe they were only required to go actually physically to one of these temples once a year. And there was all kinds of exemptions. They wouldn't kill you if you didn't come once a year, but you would be fined or something. If you read the reality, the character Jesus Christ, all his good attributes of like tolerance and love, and which aren't that many, because since it was only for his own race or his own religion, which was a race to him, which is it a religion or is it a race? Should we take the Old Testament literal, which says anybody of any race can convert because they'll kill you if you don't? Right? Amorites, Amorites, right? Ashkelon, um, you know, right? Canaanites, right? Philistines, right? Go in there and kill their children, right? Get in that plane and drop a precision weapon on a girls' elementary school. And as we see in the 4th century, it became what it is 2000, or whatever, 1600 years later. A political weapon. It's the nature of the masses and others that it's the law. It's our job. We got to do it. We got to enforce this. They say if you won't confess Jesus and this and that, then we have to arrest you and eventually we're going to kill you. It was the removal of the average person's inner code or death, right? It was the removal of their ancestors from their heart, the language from their tongue. And it grew in power. And this day, you consult the Catholic Church, because nowadays they're in the cycle of Kali Yuga where they're acting like they're sorry for how many people did you kill? Well, at first they were like, probably was over 1 million. I think it was the 1950s. And they were like, well, we mean 1 million in Europe. And that was probably more like 20 million, they said, in the 60s and 70s. These are Catholics who care, who have been researching. Right? And they're like, well, worldwide, we went around the world killing heretics. And so if we include the whole world, I mean, we're getting, close to 100 million people. Because one person doesn't matter. 1 million people don't matter. 2, 3 million people don't matter. Think about the pain and misery each family is feeling that their little girl went to school and was blown up by a high-tech weapon made by Boeing or Raytheon or whatever. Shot from a Boeing fighter jet. How about that? I mean, it just removes you from your body. You're like, what? Yeah, how can you imagine that? Why do I say that? Because how do numbers just go from, well, it was 1 million, maybe it was 3 million, maybe it was 4. Each person is a nightmare to think about dying. Each person's story. Now we're talking 100 million of my ancestor. You're telling me there were temples like the one in Greece, the Pantheon all over Europe, and they're gone now because of Jesus? And Maria guarantees you the actual men that they're following come from the original decree that Christianity is becoming and has become the state religion of Rome. And if you don't pay your tithe, go to church, blah, 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 it will be taken as treason and you will be put on trial and crucified for not believing in the crucified. Do you hear that? That's what they were looking for. Bringing together of good and evil. It's good for you to believe in Jesus because you're a sinner, right? And if you don't agree, we who do agree that we're sinners will kill you in the most horrific manner ever existed, systematically, on very intangible evidence and proof. You're a heretic because you will not do what we say. We say, confess this. They did that all over Europe. And I've told the story how I became I didn't become, actually. It was crazy. I've talked about this before, but it was crazy that I was like so happy to see my first girlfriend. This was I think the very first time I ever seen her in the ritual. And this was a good 6 months. So a good 20 something rituals into it. And immediately I felt all her pain and sadness. And unexpectedly, I heard her thoughts, and because she's such a great person, I think, she would hide this and not be proud, and not, she would know there's something wrong. But I didn't choose this. It just happened on another plane of existence. But it was like she was crying. I was seeing her. And then I became her. And she was like, if I just, was a prettier, if I just was more beautiful, if I, just had bigger tits or a nicer ass, or maybe I would feel better about myself. Maybe I would be happier, like kind of like my genetics, aren't good. And this is, I mean, clearly one of the most beautiful women physically. I think eh, anyone would agree. And it just hit me so hard that that's not how she's seen herself, and that she felt empty, and felt like if I, wanted to get surgery done, I should just do it. And my mind went to like, no, it's an illusion. That won't help. That's agreeing with the illusion. That's being deceived by the illusion. That's being sucked in. And then suddenly, I had just completely switched bodies with her, and I was her. And then I completely understood. She was born into it. She she thinks it's her. She thinks I don't know if I am fucked up, if I'm myself, if I'm a sinner and need God. She just was authentically like, I don't know what can help me. And suddenly, this whole vibration of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, just went from woman to woman. It went to like my aunt, even, who again had, I never thought about it until then, but had very, small boobs, say it that way. And then it literally, I was like, Missouri River Goddess, what's happening to me? And it picked up speed like a river. And I was becoming people I barely knew. I mean, I really was. I could, I touched each person's essence, like girls I worked with, girls I knew from high school. And I just felt like, damn, this sucks. Every one of these women are so beautiful, and like it don't matter, or it's just as beautiful. It's big. I mean, I don't know how much you could ever stress to someone like the size of your tits don't matter to me. Whatever size they are, like Maria saying, I hardly have any. I have no tits. And I'm like, that's perfect. I'm like, it's very Scorpio of you. I'm like, it's beautiful. You're absolutely beautiful. You're made to dance. You are the ballerina. You know, like she said, she didn't struggle with this. She's like, I didn't even give my mind time to struggle. Like what men wanted never was that important to me. Maybe because I wasn't born into a consumerism. It's like this is the only thing. Big tits are the only thing, you know? And just boom, boom, boom. It picked up speed until I was like, oh my God, I am. And this is after I had given birth to the astral body, in which I felt like I kept saying, I am just the whole world's pain, misery, despair is like running through me, like releasing through me and like a river. The same way, like I said, this switching bodies like picked up steam, and it went like meta. And I was like, this sucks. Billions of women are brainwashed And I was flipped onto like another level. And I was like, each individual man likes what he likes. Like, there's no man likes this in general. It's just that this man likes this man likes that, this man likes no tits, this man likes giant. I mean, it literally, this is the reality, not whatever you are that you can't do anything about, doesn't matter because it's not worth breaking the principle of harming yourself for someone else's likes or pleasures or whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, it's not worth it. And come on up. Come on down. And as it went meta, and I went into this like white room of women saying what I was saying, it was like me and Maria and I, we really want you to get this. The reason she's saying to me right now, as she's here, the reason this happened the way it did is because of her. Because Maria truly cares about women in general. And, no bullshit. Let me find a way to smoke inside this fucking thing, right? So I left off before the buzzer went off. I left off with, it went like almost haywire. The speed, the velocity of switching bodies from person to person to person to person to person. It was all women, and I know men struggle with the same things. You can apply it to anything, anyone. I was transported. It was almost like a classroom full of women, and I just started to say, it's about the truth is each man has a individualized, deep down, under the brainwashing, under the mind control, under the status symbol, under the successful, what it looks like to other people, under all that, each person has a variety. There's no set preferences. There's no set beauty. Beauty truly, I remember saying this, beauty really is in reality, from a man's perspective, sexually, what turns me on, what does it for me is totally, completely individualized. Something that was there before I even came and manifest physically in this world or any other one. And there is no general, this is sexy, this is beautiful, this is, and like Maria said, you'll see why these things were put together and how this connects with justice and what is right and what is wrong. Christianity is what brought that on women. A deliberate curse to make you weak, subservient. Because why? Always back to, we do what we want. You are a slave. And their whole thing is always, you can have it better than the other slaves if you help us do what we want. right? And we mean that literally, right? In this world, in the economic uh, temperature, world that we're living in right now. And all of a sudden, just while I was testifying before these women in this very brightly lit room, I just literally got like woozy. I was in the moment and I went, "Oh my god." And I like closed my eyes, and when I closed my eyes, I felt like a punch, like punched me right in the forehead so hard. I seen stars, and it was just like what had happened with the plastic surgery breast thing and women. It was like it was gone in a click, like it was a dream, and I didn't even remember. Like 1 second after, I just completely forgot about it because I was being beaten by a mob, a screaming banshee predator mob. And I suddenly realized it's my mouth that's screaming so loudly, and the other voices were a few feet away. And my first thought is, I said, "Missouri River Goddess, what is happening?" And she's like, "Just stay with me, stay calm." And I was like the observer and in it, back and forth. And I felt someone just pull my hair so hard that I was completely disembodied almost. It like took me almost out of my body. It hurt so bad because it was like the person tried to rip me away from the other people who had a hold of me. And I think eventually this person did get me away from them and punched me, basically knocked me unconscious and threw me to the ground. And when I was on the ground, I, in a split second, became the observer. And I seen a huge blonde, remember, like, of everything I'm saying, don't ever think that I think white people are good. I'm living the reality of 2026. White people do not care about their own people, no matter what anybody says. The only ones that care are esoteric Hitlerists like Miguel Serrano. There's none of these people. All we see are traitors and sellouts and the very people, and they have blonde hair and blue eyes. And a lot of them are German. A lot of them are Dutch. A lot of them are, especially a lot of Irish, Scottish. Most of our enemies are the same old, our own people, the banking institutions. And it's just a reality of caste system that every race is like this with its variety of people. But I was a girl. I now seen. I would say about 15. And it just looked like, pretty much like pioneer people. But they were heavily, Irish, British, whatever, Scottish accented. And they weren't speaking English. They were just I could just hear that Irish, Scottish, and just the words were like being translated, like everything was in slow motion. after this punch to my head. And everything was in slow motion. I was like hearing them and say like what they were going to do to me, how they were going to kill me, and how this is so crazy. They were blaming her for like everything that ever bad happened in the village. You know, it was her. It was her that did it. It was her fault that this accident happened. And blah blah blah. And I literally thought to myself, all these people are retarded. These are brain damaged, retarded people. These are hocus pocus fucking naive, superstitious fucking bumpkins. This is fucking so stupid. And I just kept hearing like Jesus, you know, in this crazy accent amongst all these foreign words. I kept hearing Jesus, Mary. You know, it was like they're saying the Catholic thing, Jesus, Mary, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And this big old dude, it looked like Paul Bunyan, you know, like old time. This was in, like Maria's here right now, she said, this was in the 17th century, in the 1600s in Britain. She said, I would know. I know this girl, and this is how we accessed this. And I watched this Paul Bunyan dude take a few steps back with these big ass crazy like motorcycle boot looking things. I mean, there wasn't motorcycles then, but you know what I mean? These big leather boots. He took like a few steps back, ran and kicked the girl in her head. And I was in her body. A millisecond before the kick, it's like I flipped out of the body to witness it. I witnessed it. And right as he kicked me, I went back in the body, and the impact of the kick on my head knocked me completely out of my body. And I, like when I was in her and came completely out of my body as her, I was standing in another world with her, like the world you go to when you die, because she was dead. And I was in total shock, like someone who had witnessed some total innocent person be executed, you know, a child even. I mean, she was a child in my world. And remember, this is being juxtaposed with the brainwashing that you're not pretty enough, you're not sexy enough, your tits aren't big enough. Is the same thing. That brainwashing they put on you is the same thing as ripping you out of your house, beating the fuck out of you, and killing you because of what you believed. Do you get that? They're brainwashing you that you're not sufficient because they're afraid of you remembering what you believed. They don't want you to leave this sinner, you're bad religion, right? So they can tell you you're bad for wanting the surgery. They can tell you both things. You're a sinner. Your nature is to sin, which that's what you're born into, whether you believe it. I never believed that, but you were born into it, which made you very open unconsciously to fall victim of it, right? And this, again, falls under the teaching of the warrior is never the victim. Like, once you know this, you won't be the victim anymore. It's okay if you fucked up. We all do. we all got tricked by these people. They're using heavy magic. Like I said, look at how they alchemized, the persecution into psychological persecution that you aren't pretty enough, right? You're too tall or too short or too wide or too this or too that. And in the name of Mama Orsic, this experience she took me through is breaking. She was telling me this in real time in 2012. This was early 2012. She was telling me this is unconsciously the warfare back against the Christian, Hollywood, consumer, psycho, industrial, military, religious complex called America. Right? And the girl was furious. She was as mad as I've ever seen a human being. And it had to be sort of telepathically translated to me, but she was saying, "You're the stupidest people ever. All I did was help people. I never harmed one person. All I did was help the children." And she was saying to me, I was like a teacher. I was in training to be a teacher, and I was a teacher. And like she said, they literally murdered me because I would not agree with them that Jesus died and that we're all sinners. She looked at me, and she was very beautiful. She looked at me and she said, "That's how evil these people are." And I was teaching my students, like you would have, to think for yourself. Where is our history? Where is our religion? Where are our gods? They're in the graves with our murdered, tortured ancestors, and it don't matter. I have a Palestinian scarf, but I don't support any sort of violence, force, or fraud in any way, shape, or size. I am not a Muslim. I'm not. The reason I wear this is because they're the targets of the evil, the Crowleyite black magician of human sacrifice. And once they're done with those, once they're done with them, believe it, they'll be back to pagans and everything pagan. If you only knew, this is not Make America Great Again, it's Make America Boring Again, right? What the psychos that are actually supporting Trump, what they would like is banning of all secular music. Does this sound familiar? What they say they hate Islam for? Banning of all porn, banning of all R-rated movies. We need to go back to, like family TV. We need to go back to Little House on the Prairie, only. A little genocide on the prairie, from the Indians' point of view, is like, oh yeah, a bunch of very nice, sweet little girls genocided a couple 100 million people off of this country. Like, I don't want to be here. I really believe I am the son of Maria Orsic, in the meaning that I'm destined to remove my people I love from this land and start a new family connected to the land, out of the land of genocide. You might say, well, they're all lands of genocide, but not necessarily. You can be invited or go and share a land with someone who's like, this land, our people have been here for thousands of years. We welcome you. We welcome you to join us in this land. Because why? Americans, truly, people with no land. The principles that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, the very freedoms that they risked their lives for, wrote about, uh, specifically Thomas Paine, against the Bible and its mind control that God hates you. Old Testament is just God hates you. You better obey and think and hope you're lucky that He don't wipe your ass out. The New Testament is He's so psycho. He went ahead and tortured and killed His own son. Now He's happy. Even if you're a murderer, He'll forgive you. He don't give a fuck about the victims. That's their new message. But all all is passing away, and a new vril religion, restoration of Mama's vril religion, is coming true as we send you a vibration of healing. The Hegel 6-pointed star, right? Complete man and woman. We ask Big Lou and Donna to think about us, the people who are listening, and help us. I know they're people like me. I feel bad. I feel bad asking, but I've never known anything. This is what I know. They're the only people I know that can help us. I really believe I wouldn't be here. I swear on everything of everything I've ever said is exactly the truth. People came in my house when the doors were locked, filled up the bathtub with hot water. People came to my house, as Aleister Crowley said, with guns to kill me. And I don't even know exactly what happened, but the first time, me and the person grabbed my gate, a like 7-foot wooden fence gate that you have to really look close through the cracks to see through. I watched him the last couple steps walk to my gate, and Maria Orsic said to me with her voice, "Joe, listen, don't grab the handle yet. Wait, now grab it." And when I grabbed and I pulled, he had already had a hold of it, like flipped the little lock, little lever, and we pulled back and forth. And it was like my mind met his, and I was like, you think you came here to kill me? But I'm so glad you came on my property, breaking into my house. I'm gonna kill you. I don't know how. I don't have a weapon. This all happened in like a split second. I was like, but I believe in this supernatural woman. So it don't matter what weapon you have. You came here to kill me, but you're gonna die. And literally for like 1, 2, 3, like me and him pulled back. He let go, slipped, fell to the ground, bounced up in just a millisecond, and sprinted across my neighbor's front yard and down the street, across the street to the park. Right? And then a few weeks later, Maria's like, let's get out of the room. Let's go outside. Turn on the lights. Let's sit on the porch. And at the right time, she was like, I see them, Joseph. They're here. Get get your stuff. Go inside now. Lock the door. Make sure that all the doors are locked. So I went inside, locked the door, walked to my living room window, and I seen two dudes in all black, like COVID looking mask, just beeline straight to my backyard. And Maria's like, "Don't move. Just stay right here. Don't go look at what they're doing." So I have no idea what they were doing in my backyard. I didn't hear them touch the door, you know, nor the garage door, which is, right there. The not the garage door, but the door leading to the kitchen from the garage. I didn't hear either one of them try to get in these doors. That's what I was listening for. But they were back there for quite a while, which was crazy to me. And then I seen them walk quickly out of my backyard, walk down the driveway to the sidewalk, walk very quickly, like past my neighbor's house, and then just start walking calmly. And I'm looking out the window, going, what the fuck? And my whole thing with this is, the witness is this is crazy. Is the only time in since 2011 that I wasn't in constant contact with Mindy. She had just changed jobs. It was crazy. We didn't really have a schedule yet for talking, and this happened right in that time where Aleister Crowley was telling me, I'm going to turn every single one of these people at this group ritual against each other. What can you say to that? I know people are like, oh, really, you think Aleister Crowley appeared? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Because Maria, because of her. And, like she said, we're just going to keep doing our work of restoring the Druidic ancient religion in its most basic sense. Like, we're not fancy about it. You can be as fancy as you want about it. You can develop your own ceremonial things that you want to do each week. But basically, the key here is if you want to get out of here, you must create your own path out of here on an individual basis. And that means basically like tweaking this religion to your own personal way. The simplicity is this. When you're going to do something spiritual, anything spiritual, there can be and is outside influences, especially if you're in like a magic war with the child murderers of today, right? And in that magic war, you do not want any influence. You're conscious your thoughts. You want to make sure, you want to know for sure that you're free from their influence. And I mean, this is why these teachings are so important. This goes straight at the heart of everything. Are you energy? Well, this is an energy war. If you're going to let a bully follow you around all day, calling you names and embarrassing you, this is what the energy is like of a curse. It's like following around, trying to embarrass you, trying to fuck with you, right? On the same level of elementary school, if you're going to be free from it, you have to face it face to face. You have to be like, I work for this, whether it's a room, a house, an apartment. You're like, this is my fucking space. Hey, maybe you're powerful enough to follow me around in the world or whatever your obsession, your nuts, your thing is that makes you nuts. But in this space, you must leave. You have to leave. My life is paying for this. I'm not going to stop till you do leave. And like Maria said, this is sometimes where the war is won or lost. Right here in the atmosphere of what is your life about? What is your religion? What do you believe? Because our people in our unconscious, it's vibrating very hard. You are what you believe. You are, back on Venus, we always say, you are what you believe. And we love you. We adore you, our people, love without death. May the blessings of Maria be with you, on you, in you.
Sit first, my friend, on the mountain high, where the winds speak truth and the spirits sigh. In silence the earth whispers what you seek, to mend what's broken, to find what's weak. The hoop of life bend, cracked and worn, by wounds untended, promises torn. But there's a way to heal what's true, a path within that calls to you. Your medicine lives in the soul's deep well, in dreams that sing and tales that tell. So climb the mountain, sit with the sky, ask spirit to show you what, when, and why. Listen for visions, hear what they say. Let them teach you a sacred way. Bring back the gifts you're meant to find, to heal the world and ease the mind.